And with that, let's jump over to another game series with Metallic Madness, Mega Man Battle Network. You like that segue? Alright, so last time in Mega Man Battle Network 2, we arrived in Netopia, which in the Japanese version they call it Amerope, which is the version of America and Europe, which it makes a lot more sense when you actually play the game. It's like this crazy city with like we got robbed, uh, land and well, we really got robbed like twice, really. Uh, Lan and Mega Man got in a fight, and Lan threw Mega Man aside and in a hotel room, and then Mega Man kind of got in a fight by himself. I'm just like remembering this as I'm talking to you. And then he lost. Well, he won the fight. He fought off whoever he was fighting, and but he lost our passport, which was on the PET, the device that holds Mega Man, and the passport was also on the PET. It's a digital passport, and now we're on a journey to get the passport because we went to Netopia, and we I guess we can't get another passport. So now we had to travel into the internet, or rather send Mega Man into the internet to get the passport back. So that's where we're at now. So I sent Mega Man into a radio, and the first real thing of note was like what do you call it? Little, I'm not even sure what to call them. The little panels from Sabrina's Gym and Pokemon. I don't know what to call them. Where you step on them and you go all sorts of different ways. And besides that, it's just kind of easy street until you run into a familiar face. Not in a million years would I have expected this character to reappear. It is Number Man from the original Mega Man Battle Network. Now, how I was told is when you defeat a I'm what are they called? Not a virus, but a net navi. They are just deleted from the internet. Now, you can refight them. They do reappear, but they're not the same guy. They're just like their information stays forever on the internet. This is kind of like throwing me off because they're there and they're like a non-playable character. Yeah, it's just weird to me. Is it weird for you? I don't know. So you travel along, you eventually just run into the people that have Land's passport. It's like just some nameless thugs, and one guy's trying to sell it to another guy, and you gotta fight both of them, and then once you do it, you're like, coolio. Now I gotta get back to Land, and I guess. All right, so here's the other thing I want to correct from last time. The kid who wanted the guard chip, I thought I had that from the quiz kid. Apparently, I did not. That was a different chip. So, what you need to do, very specifically, the best way to do it is I looked it up. You should go talk to this guy in the alley. He's just like walking around, and he's like, "Oh, you don't have any what type of chip was it? I believe it was guard. They're all over this place." And then you have to talk to this tourist standing in front of the castle. And then she goes, "Oh, I have like 30 of them." And then she gives you 30 of them. That is like the best way to get out of grinding for him. Because otherwise you need to really sit down and grind in the radio. So that's what I did. After that, you go to Miss Millions, and she is like, "Oh, I have a whole bunch of your chips I have for that I bought for like a bazillion dollars, or a bazillion zennies." And now this this is another little part of the story that's kind of funny to me. So I'm like, this game's getting a little tough. I said, okay, I'm gonna use the Mega Buster, or the one shot, one kill thing. And then I went over to Rabita, and I began to reorganize all my chips. And I'm like, because Snake Man was the most annoying boss I've ever fought. I did not want to play around with Snake Man. That was annoying as anything. I could have probably done it, but that was the compromise I made. So I just went over to Rabita, and I said, okay, I've reached the point of the game where it's like, because I was doing like all my original chips from the start of the game, adding on like a couple new chips here and there, but now I'm like, okay, now I'm starting from scratch. All my chips are up to be removed and swapped out, and Rabita, yeah, she's no slouch, and I eventually beat her, and I'm like, okay, that's a good benchmark for where I should be at. After that, you go back to the hotel to sleep. You can't really leave Nintopia, I have to point out. I tried. uh, but you go back to the hotel to sleep. Uh, the official net battling meeting is tomorrow, and Winland wakes up. Tomorrow is today. uh, and it's like, all right, all the super cool net battlers are meeting in the secret room of the castle. And I'll admit, this part took me at least 5 minutes to figure out. 5 real minutes. And you go in the castle, and there's like the little stairs roped off, and there's like 4 people in the whole castle. And I'm like, all right, well, are we talking about the same castle? And it turns out you just need to like walk through a wall, and that's how you get to the secret meeting. And in the secret meeting, there's Chad, all of our favorite rival. At this point, something clicked in my brain. You know who Chad is like, actually? He's like the rival from Pokemon Gold, Silver, Crystal. I'm not sure what made me come to that conclusion, but he's kind of got that energy, Rival, kind of like a anti-hero, There's Johnson, net battler, lover of freedom and peace. He's just kind of a dude. There's Raoul, the guy we fought earlier. And there's Princess Pride. We have an entire princess. Not sure where all the other world leaders are. And then we have, what's her name? Like Jennifer from South Netopia. So, the best leaders and net battlers in the world have all come together. And there's just 6 of them. It's like, I get we're meant to be like the Avengers of the net Navi world or whatever, but it's kind of funny that there's only 6 super cool, super official net Navi people. Anyways, this guy comes in, and he's leading the meeting, and he's like, all right, this is everything we know about Gospel, the net mafia, and apparently they're building this super... why do I keep saying super? This... What's another word for super? This crazy... this ultimate Navi... Even they call it super. This super Navi that is going to conquer both the real world and the electronic world. And before he can give us more info about it, everyone just falls through the floor. And it's like, uh-oh, what's going on here? And then we wake up in a dungeon of sorts. Not even of sorts. It's a real dungeon with chains on the wall and everything. And darts start shooting from the wall, and there's skulls on the ground and bones, and it's this is what I was wanting, like, pretty much all game. The first game had a lot of like crazy events like this, and Mega Man Battle Network 2 has been like really, I feel like, holding back from crazy, I don't know, events like this. And now, like, everyone that we're hanging out with just a second ago, they're all like off on their own in the dungeon, and we have to communicate with them as we make our way through the escape to escape the dungeon, using land to disable the traps and try and help our friends escape with us. Another thing I want to praise this part of the game for is the gimmick of this dungeon. It's the best way to describe it is like Pac-Man almost. You're doing the dungeon, and there can be like a vampire in the dungeon with you, and if the vampire runs into you, it'll take 100 of your health points, or it can be a zombie, and the zombie, if he runs into you, he'll take you back to the grave, because there's like random gravestones. And another one is like, I believe they're called bandits or robbers, and if he runs past you, they always turn left, I believe. They all have like certain movement patterns to them. He runs past you and he steals, like, I believe it's all your zennies, and you know, they all have different quirks to them. Like I said before, like the zombie, he can steal 100 health points, but you can never go down to 0 except in battle. So that's a nice addition. I feel like in Mega Man Battle Network 1, they wouldn't do that. Being carried back to a certain point, that's not the end of the world. And if your zennies get stolen, if you complete the dungeon, they're just sitting there at the end. So it's like, you know, just a little tomfoolery action. But while you're avoiding them, you're also looking for keys. So it's not like a whole trying to run through as fast as you can. You're looking for key to unlock the door, and then move to the next area. Key to unlock the door, move to the next area. You know what I'm saying? And then I feel like this area is kind of well done. You know, it's also like the last dungeon type of deal, where it kind of overstays its welcome a little bit. Feel like they could have mixed it up a tad bit. Maybe added one more enemy or gimmick variety guy to spice it up at the end. Overall, no complaint. This is from the series that gave us the electric dungeon and the ice dungeon, so I ain't complaining, man. So Mega Man disarms the trap, land moves on, and then you get a little beep 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 beep. It's Johnson, and he's like, "Oh, this trap got the better of me. And you've got to move on. It's this trope. The trope of, your friends are being picked off one by one. And then you're the only one that has to move on. It's just cinema. I don't know what it is about it. It's just the best to me. You move on to the next room, and it's like, what's going on in here? And then there's the princess in there, and she's like, this is the room that Johnson couldn't pass, and he got squished by the ceiling. And she's like, can you help me with this trap? And then you help her with the trap. And then she's like, coolio. She doesn't say that. But she's like, now that you did that, I'm going to stay back because I dropped my battle chip in this pile of bones here. Go ahead, I'll cause problems for you. And you're like, all right. And then you go through, and while she rummages through the bones, and then the door locks behind you, and she's like, uh-oh, here's Net Mafia's gospel Net Navi, the ultimate Net Navi. And then it fights her Nightman, and just like destroys Nightman and wipes Nightman off the face of the net. And it's like, oh, see, cinema. I'm doing I'm doing the pose. And then you walk up the stairs, and there's Jennifer just lying on the stairs. And it's like, what's going on? And Jennifer's like, oh, I can't move the trap. I'm dying, lad. Someone is a traitor. And you're like, well, who could be a traitor? And then that's what got me thinking. I'm like, all right, can't be anyone that's dying so far. So then you step into the next room, and then a ring of fire appears around you, and you absolutely can't move. And Lance's like, well, what do I do in this scenario? There's like a switch on the wall, and Lance's like, I got it. I was given a wireless from Meilu. Let me throw the wireless on the panel, and then throw the PET on the panel. Wouldn't if you have that precise aiming, wouldn't it just make more sense to just throw the PET on the panel? I'm not gonna question it anymore. But it works out. And then you move on to the next room, and then you see Raul with his face first down on the floor. Alright, we're talking about traitors, and then you see someone with their face first down on the floor. My first inkling was, I thought, when you see Raul at the meeting, and then you see someone with their face first down on the floor, I thought the trick was going to be that someone was pretending to be Raul, and he would stand up, and it would be someone else. You know what I'm saying? Like, he would not take his face off, like take a mask off or something. It turns out that indeed was Raul on the ground, like burning or smoking, or I'm not sure. There's smoke emanating from him, and that's where my mind went when I saw Raul on the ground. Uh, I'm not sure. But you'll find out who, in fact, is the traitor here in a little bit. Out of nowhere comes Chad, and he comes in and he looks at us, looking at Raoul lying on the ground, and he's like, look at this scene. And we're like, it's not what it looks like. And he's like, I'm gonna take you in. And we're like, not if we take you in. And it's pretty much what it sounds like. And he's like, Mega Man is the root of all evil. And we're like, not at all. And he's like, Proto Man, I order you to destroy Mega Man. And it's like the previous Proto Man fight. You really gotta lean in with your sword. Proto Man, he's got the shield. You really can't focus too much on any of your gunfire. A good thing I reorganized my chips, is all I'm saying. That really helped me in this fight. And then once you beat Chad, didn't take too long. You know, I think reorganizing reorganizing my chips gives me a little leeway to flex my Mega Man Battle Network 2 muscles a bit. Chad's like, I'm weak, you know. Again, he's kind of like the Gen 2 rival. My weakness deleted Proto Man. Gen 2 rival. If I could have just hated you with all my might, Gen 2 rival. And then Raoul's like, neither one of you is from Gospel. And then it turns out, it's the princess who's actually the traitor. And you go up the stairs and it's Princess Pride. And she's like, I've been working for Net Mafia all along, Gospel. She's actually a Gospel leader. And she's like, I've infiltrated your organization. You guys aren't really a big deal. You're easy to fool. And I'll defeat you easily. And she's like, I'm so smart. I didn't even put a wireless or a wired terminal down with you. She's like, or Elaine's like, well, I have a wireless terminal. And then he's like, hacha! And then he throws it in the terminal. And then she's like, haha, I have Nightman. And then you gotta go through a little dungeon to get to Nightman. Nightman himself is a little... How do I describe Nightman? He is... Once you find out what is going on, it is not a cakewalk, but... And definitely easier than Snake Man. I think this entire game is going to be easier than Snake Man, honestly. But medium to hard difficulty, I believe, for Nightman. His whole thing is, you know, all attacks do 1 damage unless he is in the other phase where he's swinging his ball and chain at you, or doing the other thing at you, stomping the ground, and all the panels disappear, and then the rocks fall down, and basically my plan was just make all his panels disappear, and then just pound them with like 100 damaging moves. Like Frogman is good, or I got in close with sword attacks towards the end. That's high risk, high reward. Once you finally defeat Nightman and Princess Pride, then she's like, ho ho, I can still manipulate the traps. I still have one up on ya. And then she goes, beep, 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 beep. And then, then it just opens up like a trapdoor underneath her feet. And then it's like, I guess that's it for her. And then you go back to the Organization of Net Navi. I keep wanting to call it something else. I don't know. And they're like, actually, everyone is alive. They're not dead at all, including Princess Pride. And it's like, what? Everyone said they're on death's door. Jennifer is like, I'm dying. Raul was lying down, like, smoking face first on concrete. And now he's okay, I guess. And you get a little more information about why Princess Pride might have joined Gospel. And then Chad was like, next time we meet, we might be on the same side. And I'm like, Gen 2 rival? The last thing I want to touch on is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Chad says, all of Proto Man's programming is safe in my head. Okay, let's unpack this. So that means he says that because we killed Proto Man. He's deleted. And we also touched on earlier in this episode that Number Man, he reappeared. Because once you're deleted, other number men can reappear. Because you're not permanently deleted from the net. So that means we can create other replicas if you know your net Navi well enough. Is that what I'm getting? So could Lan create another Mega Man? Right? I know it was like under specific, or could he? I know Mega Man was like a specific circumstance. That's spoiler heavy, I know. But could he like create an upgrade, we'll say, to Mega Man? Like give him like Omega Cannon or something. I don't. This feels like an important text box. I don't know. Let me know in the comments, and we'll meet back next episode and maybe get more answers. All right.